I'm Jon Enge. Welcome to Dungeoneer. Today we're talking about party intros. The answer to the question, how can I make a room full of nerds even more socially awkward? It's the gaming equivalent of a middle school dance, with one side paralyzed in terror, while the other side tries to suppress a fleet of unstoppable fear boners. Well, I'm here to tell you, we can make this a lot less awkward. Not completely un-awkward. We are who we are, but we're gonna soften the landing a little. Today we're gonna talk about how to start with characters that know each other, how to start with characters that don't know each other, how to set up characters for a one-shot, introducing a new character, and then I'm gonna give you some game tools to establish characters and their relationships. But why not start off with everyone's favorite trope? Never start in a tavern! This is one of the gaming community's favorite shibboleths. Not to be confused with an aboleth, which is a mind-controlling dictopus hell-bent on feasting on your brain meats. Om nom. Along with never split the party, something else I think is bullshit advice, subscribe for that video. I've had people just blurt these sayings out to me like I'm at karaoke singing, Sweet Caroline. But why shouldn't we start in a tavern? Taverns are a place of joy and frivolity. Then bad singing, then sure, just one more. Then, God, I love this guy's mustache. Then, I'm sorry, ma'am. Then, you don't know me. Then, hey, you're cute. And then, bad decisions that can only be fixed by penicillin and a good divorce attorney. All of which is a completely fictional story about D&D. I think it goes back to the early days of D&D where the players would be dumped on their asses with no context, no connections. Hell, most of us weren't even playing characters. We were playing character sheets. Then suddenly we were expected to turn this collection of graphite and graph paper into real breathing people? Get the f*** out of here with that.
Okay, you guys can talk to each other now if you want.
Hello.
Hello?
I am Galstaff, Sorcerer of Light.
Then how come you had to cast magic missile?
We've come a long way from those days though, so I'm always happy to drop my players into a tavern. I go in with some context. It's a great way to get some low stakes roleplay up front. Let them get their characters on their feet, try out any voices they want to do. If you're gonna start in a tavern, figure out what would be happening if the adventurers didn't show up tonight. Is this a normal night? Is there an activity happening that the characters can get in on? A dance contest? A drinking contest? An argument between two factions of gnomes? P.S. F*** this guy. Wolfram Bongle can suck my butt. I saved his ass, did everything he wanted, and he declares war on me? On me? This will be your last mistake, Wolfram Bongle. Don't let the place be like a video game where all the NPCs are walking on paths with 3 dialogue options. What would it be like in a living, breathing world? What was happening right before the scene? And what will happen after? What's something that's not just a guy waiting behind a counter for you to click on, talk to? Another customer is in there and maybe super slow. Maybe nobody has come in for weeks. Why? Is this the mob? Because that sounds like the mob. I bet it's the mob. That'll get you in a good space to have the NPCs interact with the adventurers. What do they think of adventurers? As a group and individually. Do they think adventurers are troublemakers? Or maybe saviors? Did some adventurers save the town from a Schwarz invasion? Or did they try to run off the Schwarz and end up burning down the orphanage? Those poor children. No more pajamas. Were they traumatized by the recent demon invasion that killed half the population of the kingdom, and now there's a tiefling sitting over there at the table, having the time of their life? And though they have no idea what those poor tieflings went through at the hands of the demonic horde, and it was f***ing bad, they just see a demon person laughing in their faces. Are they ready to start some shit? Adventurers are really well armed in armor. They know the PCs can murder hobo them at any moment. So maybe they just serve them watered down booze. Or does everyone just stand up and leave when they come in? Those are just some ideas off the top of my head that I wrote down a month ago and then agonized over to make sure they were useful, fun, and funny enough to put on the internet. And I'm sure no one will rip me to shreds over them. How to start with characters who know each other. I used to assume every game had to start where the characters didn't know each other, and then I don't know if I learned it from someone else or it dawned on me like a vision from the gods of D&D. One day, as we were making characters, I just looked at my players and said, all right, how do you all know each other? They were aghast. Aghast, I tell you. But then something happened. They really liked it. They had agency in this area for the first time. They started coming up with great ideas like my favorite one, a paladin and a rogue barbarian. It was savage worlds, so there were no clearly defined classes, but you get the point. So she and the paladin joined forces to become bounty hunters, and the third character, the ranger, was the bounty. Smash cut to the three of them walking down a country road with the ranger in shackles. And they all knew it was up to them to eventually coalesce into a cohesive group, but they could really take their time with it. When the shit finally hit the fan, the barbarian was already waist deep in villains. The paladin turned to the ranger, threw him the key to his bindings. The ranger raised his hands and the shackles fell off. He'd already picked them and was just waiting for the right moment to make a run for it. The paladin said something about, "It's time to decide who you really are. Hero or a coward." He turned and ran into the fray. On the ranger's turn, he looked at the back door. He could just make a run for it, but then he picked up his bow and stole a beer out of the hand of one of the locals and joined in saying, maybe a bit of both. It's one of my favorite RPG moments, and the players invented all of it. Making it a collaboration between you and your players not only takes undue burden off you, but can lead to some amazing fun times. Flimsy reasons for your characters to work together. You're all trying to exact revenge on the same villain. That villain is trying to exact revenge on all of you. You're all after the same treasure. You teamed up to make money and have pulled one or two jobs together. Maybe you lost Kevin on the first job because he was an idiot. Dumb Kevin. You're all in the same military unit. You're all on the same pirate crew. You all went to the same night school. No, different kind of night. There it is. You're all working for the same patron. So like Fantasy World Jeff Bezos hired you to turn his dick into a spelljammer. Kind of changes the meaning of that word, doesn't it? What is it jamming? How to start when the characters don't know each other. Sometimes it's fun to play a group of disparate loners who are thrust together into an adventure, but how do we do that without making it as uncomfortable as a colonoscopy? If you just dump your players into a room, get ready for a big old butt cam. So give them a good reason to be stuck together. I mean, how about you've all heard of a job or have been sent a letter by a well-known aristocrat who needs some low-key assistance. Incidentally, every time someone needs something low-key, expect explosions. It's D&D law. All of the PCs show up at this gnome's estate and are forced to wait in a room with a lot of fancy stuff in it. How they react to that stuff can be a lot of fun. The bard is obsessed with a painting by a former lover. The rogue is trying to stuff everything she can down her pants. The barbarian just pokes at a statue and immediately smashes on the floor. And the paladin is just a wreck in the corner. Have they heard of each other? Maybe you could write up a one-sentence summary of each character and their legend, like the dragonborn sorcerer who ambushed a group of cultists in their tent with a fireball.
Allegedly.
Just have your players send you one deed that they're kind of famous for, then compress it into one sentence, fine, maybe a little longer, and completely blow it out of proportion. Give them all a written version of the rumors, excluding their own character. So when one player says to the other, "Aren't you the fellow what married a mimic?" it's a surprise to them as well. Murdered. I murdered a mimic. It ain't what I heard. Prompts for Talkin. What are they supposed to talk about? Give them some ideas. For instance, the quest giver is a half hour late. Or there's only one plate of mutton, and they all want it. Or they're just coming off a spelljammer that ran into trouble, and they were all swallowed by a giant space hamster. And though a well-meaning hippo man carved them out, they're drippings with goo and need to find a bathhouse. Fast. What better way to break the ice than to scrub space hamster fluids off each other? How to set up characters for a one-shot. One-shots are their own hamster. When you've only got 3 to 4 hours to play, you have to hit the ground running. There's rarely time for characters to get to know each other or fall in love. For my last one-shot, I just told them you're all part of the same Bush League criminal gang who have been working together for some time. Do with that what you will. We figured out where their base was, what they're known for, who a fun contact for each character that they would hate to have to ask for a favor was, and boom, we're off and stumbling. I have another adventure where they're all musketeers, and of course, one where they're all pirates. Before the adventure, I'll set up some motivations with the players. What are you running from or to? Who hurt you? Who are you trying to hurt? Everyone can have their own motivations and the option to share them with the others during the adventure or not. I'm writing all this up for Patreon, so just head over there, sign up, and you'll get all of it. Sure, you could write it all down yourself, but I'm gonna make it pretty. Often there's just not enough time during a one-shot, which is why my one-shots usually end up like 6 shots, which is Also why I quit drinking. Introducing a new character. For one reason or another, you're occasionally going to have a character enter or exit your game, whether it's just for a night or two, or because Kevin finally drove them off. Since this is a game, the players know that Rachel's character is going to join the group tonight. I mean, she brought the Snyders of Hanover mix. They're going to be willing to give a lot of leeway when it comes to letting her in. The PCs might give Rachel's character a bit of a hard time, but eventually, it's up to the players to bring her along. Yes, up to the players. Players, that's your job. Players, this doesn't mean you simply say, "Oh, hello, you are adventurer? As are we. Come, join us. Here, watch over all of my gold. Oh, and take my sword. I'm sure you won't murder me in the middle of the night while you're watching me sleep. Don't let the bed bugs bite." Shoo. Make them earn your trust. Just don't be such a crapsicle that they tell you to go yourself and take their Snyders of Hanover and leave. Rachel, I'm sorry. Sucks. Those are really good pretzels. You can always ease this transition by having this new character be someone one of the PCs knows or someone sent to them by a trusted person. On the other hand, maybe they're related to the last character and they fucking hate you people because you got their sibling killed and they're here to make sure the job gets done right. Players, there are a few reasons to grill them a bit. First, everything's better with grill marks. But most importantly, immersion. It makes the world feel real. If your characters are super suspicious of everyone they meet, and what adventuring party isn't? A party that hasn't seen enough mimics, that's what. When those characters suddenly meet a stranger and immediately make them a full-fledged member of the party, well, that's metagaming. Bad metagaming, in my opinion. And yes, there's a difference between good metagaming and bad metagaming. We'll get to that. Subscribe. Second, you can bet dollars to donuts that they've put a bunch of work into their backstory. Give them a chance to share their cool stories with you. Be curious, be suspicious. It's disrespectful if you aren't. And don't forget to check in with each other. You don't want your friend to think you're an actual dick. I mean, you might be, but you're our dick, and we love you. Mid-adventure editions can be a bit trickier, so here are some suggestions. They're the last surviving member of another adventuring party. They've been hiding under the dead bodies of their comrades, living on them for days. Eating their toes. Nails and all. That's gross, don't put that in there. The bad guys captured them and you have to save them before they're turned into roasted dwarf ribs. They were lovers with the BBEG, and he caught them cheating with an ogre, so he tossed the PC into a pit. Not with Mig. No! How dare you, Mig? Last Christmas. Maybe the character is hunting the same monster you are, or the bad guy is encroaching on their ancestral forest, and they're spying on his flunkies, plotting their revenge. Ooh, maybe they're a renowned mercenary whose loyalty is to a kingpin holding their sister ransom in exchange for the item your group is after, and they're willing to join you for now, but eventually, you're all gonna have to make the choice between the quest or the new PC and their sibling. Ooh, now we're talking drama. Nom 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 nom. Game tools. Recently I've started introducing characters with the power of montage. On a montage. Trying to get the feeling of a getting the gang together opening of a movie. These all require a time limit or each player will go off for like 10, 15, 90 minutes. Learned that one the hard way. The Ocean's 11. One or two characters go around recruiting the rest of the gang. I tell the players what we're doing beforehand and to think about what their specialty is and what they're doing when those characters come a-calling.
Someone call for a doctor?
No more than 2 minutes. Keep it snappy. The Suicide Squad. You're all inmates in a prison. Or maybe free criminals not in a prison. Whatever. But you're famous for what got you there.
Hey guys, sorry I'm late. Had to go number 2.
In 2 minutes, give the rest of the group a rundown of who you are, what you look like, and the story they heard. And it doesn't have to be the truth. It's better if it's not. In fact, it's a lot of fun when the rumors about you are patently false and you let that slip during the course of the adventure.
Wait, what are you talking about? You lifted a box once.
Well, actually, the driver kind of had his foot on the accelerator just in the beginning, just to get it going. Then it actually was me.
The A-Team. You start out on a mission that goes as planned. Kicking ass the way you dreamed these characters would when you first imagined them. Well, maybe not exactly how you imagined them.
How's your day going?
Have the players collaborate on narrating this scene. Just jump in to keep things flowing or to swing the camera over to someone else. And you don't have to play out a full-ass combat or anything. Most games have mechanics that help narrate scenes. D&D 4th edition has skill challenges, Savage World has quick encounters, and 5th edition has f***ing chases? They really dropped the ball on that one. These rules allow the players to describe the action. You have the option of adding skill rolls and narrating successes or failures, but you should be able to make it swift, exciting, and cinematic. It's a really fun way to kick things off. Decuma. This is not a sponsorship, I just love this game and the person who created it. Love you, Kimmy. Let me read to you from the website. Decuma is a tarot-inspired card game that helps the GM and their players collaboratively create all the important details for a campaign in any tabletop RPG setting or system, including key locations, character connections, and setting conflicts. It's backstory tarot, childhood trauma sold separately. I normally get real crotchety about anything that wants to gamify writing my backstory and connections for me. So when a friend first said we should play Decuma, I had to clench my jaw and say, that sounds fun. But it was a ton of fun. Even better, it got me out of my normal thought patterns and asked questions, made suggestions I never would have thought of. These cards don't take any of that away or try to undo any of what I've done. In fact, they help incorporate it and then add to it. And you can scale them up or down as you desire. Seriously, check it out. Highly recommend. You'll never have to deal with a dead parents card ever again. So bringing the party together can be as simple as saying, you've all been adventuring together for a few months now, or as complicated as your little dark heart's desire. How do you like to do it? Comment below, as I'm planning on doing a video at the end of each month where I'll read your suggestions and corrections, because I'm sure I f***ed some stuff up. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share with your friends on the socials. This channel is only gonna work with your help, because I do this all alone. Here, in my apartment, against this plywood backdrop, when the depression isn't keeping me curled up in bed, regretting every decision of my life. So until next week, check this out. Normally I don't get into setting books, but I always find myself digging for monsters that fit the themes of my own world, and recently it's been suspiciously easy. The reason? Dungeons of Drakkenheim by Ghostfire Gaming, and of course, these dudes, the Dungeon Dudes. Monty and Kelly have done an incredible job coming up with a really cool campaign setting and monsters unlike anything I've ever seen. This book is great, and if you like the monsters in there, go back their Kickstarter for Monsters of Drakkenheim. I need more Drakkenheim monsters. And with a little help, I think they might just make their goal